The coming out scene was like so, like I literally, like Aziz actually like left the room. We were in a hotel and like he left the room and I was kind of sitting there by myself. And it's also, the thing about coming out is like it's not fun. And you just remember it. It's something that you don't ever forget. It's like a rites of passage. And so I remembered it very well. You always remember the first thing somebody says to you after that. And that was sort of like, well, who'd you tell? Or like, I can't believe, you're a black woman, you're gonna add something else to that. Like, and I think when I was telling Alan and Aziz the story initially, I think the thing that was so interesting to me was that there is a sort of misconception that for people of color, the first thing you go to is religion, like they throw the Bible at you. And the truth is, like, there wasn't a Bible in my house to throw at me. We went to church sometimes, a la Denise, but they can't quote the Bible to save their lives. They weren't like, oh, you're damning me to hell. It was more about what are the neighbors gonna think? And I think that's something I think kind of intrigued them because they were like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting take. And also too, is her the generation, like my mom was born in 1953. You know what I'm saying? So she's of a different generation. And I think that was very generational. And also there was just a lot of love in her not wanting her daughter to have a life that, would be even more difficult than her life would kind of have to be. So all that kind of stuff was just born out of what was really there. And Kim Whitley, who I think is the unsung hero of the episode, who I love, who plays Aunt Joyce, she's a combination of my mom's friends, my mom's actual sister, and all those conversations they were having. Because two like black women in their 40s talking about gay life and knowing nothing about it, those are conversations I was overhearing, conversations my sister was telling me about, because she was at home like, okay, girl, then they said this, they talk about that. Yeah, you gotta hurry up and come out because they're whispering. You know what I mean? So and also then the political stuff like that was all from, sitting at the table and hearing them talk about that kind of stuff.
I put it all out there. There's sometimes I'm worried, like, ooh, this person might get mad. I might need to change a couple of words and hope they don't realize what I've done here. But I've never had anyone get mad at me. There's a line not to cross, and you can change things enough, and you fictionalize things enough. But it's weird, though. I remember I texted you, like, there are times I've done stuff in the show where it's like going back to, really dark, sad moments in my life, and when you have to pretend to live them again, it's weird. And it's hard to go back to those places emotionally sometimes. I remember texting you, I was like, after we did that, the scene where you're coming out, and I was like, oh man, that must have been very weird and hard for you, and thank you for sharing that with us and for sharing all that stuff with us. Because I knew that episode would work because anytime I feel like we do stuff where it's really coming straight from our hearts and our lives and is very honest and full of, real details, it always connects with people. You can just kind of, it somehow comes through. And the only reason that episode works is because of Lena.
Oh, thanks, boo.